Greetings, everyone. Greetings. And welcome to Progressive Discussions. This is Progressive Discussions number 87, believe it or not. 87, which means we already have 86. Right? 86 discussions already. Time flies when you're dealing with hard-hitting truth that you're not going to hear anywhere else in the mainstream media or read in the mainstream press. I am here at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in Northeastern New Jersey. It is Saturday, September 24th, 2011, with 2012 not far from us, actually. It's creeping up on us, 2012, the infamous 2012, and Halloweeny is in the air. I could feel it slowly creeping in, and that's when, well, I like to recite a very old, little, what would you call it? A limerick?
A ditty.
A ditty, a rhyme?
Limerick, ditty.
A limerick. When the weather is hot and sticky, that is no time for Dunkin' Dickie. But when the frost is on the pumpkin, that's the time for Dickie Dunkin'. I learned that when I was, I just started high school. I was a freshman in high school. I learned that. How do you like them apples? Speaking of apples, apple cider, apple picking, apple brandy, which is Applejack, and all that good stuff. This tits the season. Tits the season. Autumn is my favorite time of year. October is my favorite month because of the beautiful, gorgeous autumn foliage, as they say in France. Foliage. I love it. I love Halloween, even though the Renaissance man Ken Create says Halloween is of the devil. You should not be celebrating Halloweeny. But he's a little fanatical when it comes to his Christianity. You know what I'm saying? I mean, have some fun. Loosen up, man. Loosen up. Woo! Loosen up. Anyway, like I said, Progressive Discussions number 87, and I will simply title these shows, being that we are starting a brand new format as of today. I will probably title them The Real Hard-Hitting Truth, and then give the number of the show, Progressive Discussions, whatever. This will be number 87, The Real Hard-Hitting Truth. Because what we're going to do is, instead of me doing my monologue for 20 minutes or more and going on and on, we are going to go directly into the current news topics, and they will be picked at random by my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. How are you today, sir?
Fine, fine.
Very good.
Randomly speaking.
Randomly speaking. He will pick these topics at random. This show is now completely, well, it never was. It was always completely unrehearsed and ad-libbed and unpredictable and uncensored. And now it's even more so because the topics will be picked totally at random without any forethought. And we will critique and give our editorial rebuttals and commentary, either in the middle of the article and or at the end of each article. So it's completely unpredictable, this show. And it will be, we're going to leave it up to the roll of the dice. All right? So continue with the first article.
Completely picked at random, and the first article happens to be Northeastern states are facing a jack-o'-lantern shortage.
Oh, excuse me. This is me prop. I'm not Irish, but I love it. I love this. This is an imported blackthorn weapons-grade shillelagh from Ireland. A shillelagh from Ireland, weapons grade, the kind that the British outlawed way back when. Now, why a shillelagh? Because it represents the centuries of oppression by the British, by the English rather, of the Irish, and it represents the plight of the little guy versus the fat cat elitists. there is much meaning to this prop. But it is an authentic imported blackthorn shillelagh. And speaking of a shortage of jack-o'-lanterns, this would be a shortage of what? Jack-off-o'-lanterns? Continue. Continue.
Yeah, there's going to be a shortage this Halloween.
Excuse me. Oh, that's not good.
After Hurricane Irene destroyed hundreds of pumpkin patches across the region.
Hundreds of pumpkin patches.
Wholesale prices have doubled
Here we
in some
go.
places
Capitalism gets involved in Halloween too.
as farmers nurse their surviving pumpkin plants for the late harvest.
Pumpkin plants.
Some farmers are trying to buy pumpkins from other regions to cover orders.
I'm not urinating. It's my tea, my green tea.
I think there's going to be an extreme shortage of pumpkins this year. I've tried buying from people down in the Pennsylvania area. I've tried locally here. And I've tried reaching across the border to some farmers over in the Quebec area.
Quebec?
There's
Canada.
none around.
Really?
Hurricane Irene raked the Northeast in late August, bringing torrents of rain that overflowed rivers and flooded fields along the East Coast into southern Canada.
And rotted out the pumpkin crop, I assume, right?
This gentleman saw his entire crop, about 15,000 to 20,000 pumpkins, washed into Lake Champlain.
Which is upper New York State, you know, north of Lake George. A beautiful, beautiful part of the Northeast, I should say.
But pumpkin farmers had been having a difficult year even before the storm. Heavy spring meant many farms had to postpone planting for 2 or 3 weeks, setting back the fall harvest. A late harvest can be fatal to business because pumpkin sales plummet after Halloween on October 31. Wholesalers need to get the pumpkins on their way to stores by mid-September.
They have to? Why do they have to get it by? Why do they have deadlines? Tell me.
31. October 31.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Another spate of rain about 2 weeks before Irene caused outbreaks of the Phytophthora fungus,
Yay.
a type of water mold, in many fields.
Oh.
It was still unclear how the shortage would affect retail prices. But in a normal year, each pumpkin could sell for up to $15 at a supermarket in a city like New York. With good pumpkins hard to find, it can make them, buyers can make them last longer by washing them with water mixed with a little bleach that kills any fungus left over from the fields and staves off the mold and rotting.
That is true. A dilution of I don't know how many parts, you know, of each, but it's a dash of bleach. It's a very old and very effective way to disinfect anything completely. That is very true. Bacteria, viruses, fungus, you know, I mean, it'll do it. Damn, people use it to purify and shock their in-ground swimming pools in the spring for Memorial Day weekend. Put a gallon of Clorox bleach in the pool and shock that sucker, and it'll go from split pea soup green to crystal clear, and then you just wait for the chlorine level to come down to safe levels, and that's it. And you know, yeah, it's excellent way to disinfect anything. If you have if your basements are very moldy and musty after the flooding of Hurricane Irene, perfect way to freshen up the basement is to mop with the bleach and water solution. You know, but yeah, this, and of course, I mean, this is an obvious, legitimate reason for the price of pumpkins to go sky high, but myself, James Piranha Madonna, does not have to worry about the price of pumpkins because I have a beautiful cast iron jack-o'-lantern that is painted orange, orange with black here and there. Very macabre, very, very nice. It'll last for generations. It is a tea light candle holder. It is large, and it has the jack-o'-lantern face on both sides. So if you put it in a bay window of a living room, you can see it on both sides. It's great, and it's cast iron, and I don't have to worry about carving out no damn jack-o'-lanterns and paying high prices. The jack-o'-lantern, the history of the jack-o'-lantern is that it was almost like a gargoyle or a talisman. It was supposed to ward off evil spirits on All Hallows Eve. And that is the origin, more or less, of the jack-o'-lantern. Continue.
A new television commercial promotes Governor Christie as a reformer, leading New Jersey in the right direction as Washington, D.C. is reeling.
Yeah, in the right direction, as in right wing. Not in the correct direction, as in the right way to do things. You get it? Okay.
But some of the claims made in the 30-second ad don't tell the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a closer look. The commercial says Christie, with bipartisan support, is taking New Jersey in another direction.
Bipartisan? Should I say Democrats that have sold out their voters and have gone conservative? Ah, bipartisan. Interesting.
The reality is, Christie regularly feuds with Democrats in the legislature.
Yeah.
Just this week, he publicly belittled Democratic Senators Loretta Weinberg and Paul Sarlo. Measures that have won Democratic support squeaked by with minimal, not widespread backing. The commercial says two budgets were balanced. The reality, New Jersey's Constitution requires a balanced budget at all times. Christie balanced the budget in part by skipping and then making only a partial payment into a state pension system already burdened by a huge deficit. The commercial says $850 million in new education funding. The reality, after cutting $820 million in education funding in 2010, Christie proposed a $250 million increase in the February 2011 budget address. But a state Supreme Court decision on school funding and an effort by Democrats to boost education aid by more than $1 billion led to the final $850 million increase. The new television ad is promoting Governor Christie as a reformer who's balancing the state budget, increasing education aid, all with bipartisan flair that is lacking in Washington. But a closer look at the $1.5 million ad reveals something else, including a series of statements that don't tell the full story. The ad also never mentions the word Republican, though Christie is an outspoken partisan, and the organization running the ad is the officially nonpartisan Committee for Our Children's Future. But it is headed by 3 Christie campaign contributors and has a spokesman with ties to former Republican President George W. Bush.
Oh, gee, that's good news. Oh.
And former GOP presidential candidate John McCain. Christie, when asked about the committee and its ad this week, said he isn't coordinating with the organization. which includes two former University of Delaware classmates, Lynn Groen and Bob Teven, among its officers, but appreciates the kind words given all the money labor unions have been spending to oppose him. I think anybody who's out there spending money to say something nice about you, I generally support. But I have nothing to do with the group, and I don't raise money for them, he told reporters. If they're out there helping me, I say thank you very much.
Well, I guess bipartisan and nonpartisan to Chris Christie really means his way.
That's correct.
His way, the right-wing conservative way, or the highway. It's in disguise. It's a sneaky way of getting his way, and implementing the right-wing greedy
and he's getting help from propagandists.
Republican conservative propaganda, implementing their agenda, which is a corporate plutocracy, total corporate and elitist control, and eventually enslaving you, the little people, and killing off the or starving.
With your help,
huh?
With their help.
With the help of the little people.
Yeah.
The little guy, starving off the poor, etc.,
Keep voting for them.
Hey, I'm still scratching my head about last November's election when the Republicans took over to Congress, and why the middle class continue to believe the lies, the conservative propaganda, the lies about how cutting taxes on the rich creates jobs in the United States. Big lie. Biggest lie. Never happened, doesn't happen, never will happen. And that's about it. I mean, all your office jobs are, mostly outsourced now. Industrial, outsourced years ago. When you call customer service, you either get India or the Philippines. So, and I'm sure those people work for peanuts or coconuts or whatever they work for.
Mangoes.
In India. Yeah. Excuse me if it gets a little noisy here. Our office is having another meeting, the staff, so if you hear voices in the background, that's them here at the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. It's getting a little loud. Okay, continue.
House Speaker John Boehner, the Weeper of the House, once again is facing a rebellion of rank-and-file Republicans over spending, with government shutdown looming. This time it's a disaster assistance bill that includes a stopgap budget measure needed to keep the government running into next month. Tea Party-backed freshmen and veteran lawmakers helped kill the measure Wednesday because they said it spends too much. A problem for Republican leaders with a bill intended to implement budget levels agreed to last month as part of a compromise to raise the debt ceiling. Speaker Boehner has a true governing problem on his hands. There are 24 House Republicans who have voted against the April budget deal, the August deficit deal, and the continuing resolution. Lawmakers have little time to work out an agreement because the Federal Emergency Management Agency says it needs additional funding to aid victims of Hurricane Irene by Tuesday. The rest of the government will run out of money September the 30th. And Congress plans to be out of session next week for Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year.
They'll take any holiday off, congressmen and senators.
Well, under George W. Bush, I believe they only worked 2 days a week. Nancy Pelosi got them back on, I believe it was a 4-day week schedule.
So what you're trying to tell me is Bush had them working 2 days per week, And plus they were getting the whopping whatever $175,000 a year with free health care and free retirement.
Because the Republicans, they feel that they should do nothing.
So the fat cats are a lot like the imperialism of the past. People that are lazy, that live off the fat of the land, welfare recipients, so to speak, that are not welfare.
Yeah.
They're not unfortunate. They're not victims of anything, and they just don't do anything, and they make you pay for it. So that whole way of thinking, that whole elitism.
Well, they want government to fail. That's what.
Feudalistic oligarch.
It's very funny.
Elitism.
These people who want government to fail are always looking to become government employees. Isn't that funny?
And when the fat cats that want government to fail are in trouble and need a bailout, all of a sudden they want government to exist so they can receive the welfare from the poor suckers that pay the taxes, the middle class, in the form of Wall Street bailouts. They want government to exist then, don't they?
Yeah.
Hypocritical, isn't it?
One way.
Hypocritical, isn't it? A lot like the right-wing fundamentalists, so-called born-again, holy roller evangelical Christians that are often caught in their hypocritical lies. Interesting.
We're watching the Tea Party shutdown move for the third time this year, said Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, the chamber's second-ranking Democrat. The American people are fed up with this strategy. Boehner said Thursday that there is no threat of a government shutdown. After a closed-door meeting of House Republicans, Appropriations Committee Chairman Harold Rogers of Kentucky said lawmakers are considering using other spending cuts to help pay for the measure, replacing a Democratic-opposed plan to take $1.5 billion from a green technology program. David Dreyer of California, chairman of the House Rules Committee, said Republicans are considering keeping the overall spending level and amount of disaster assistance unchanged. He said Republicans may try to rescind money related to a $535 million federal loan guarantee to Solyndra, which filed for bankruptcy protection this month. That was a big boo-boo for Obama administration. I don't know if it was led by his advisors or him or what, but they really blew it on that thing.
Well,
solar panels they were supposed to be making at this place, and they got that $535 million loan from the government because they were green technology.
Yeah.
For the future. And the fact that was that their business plan, they could have never made the panels for a profit. They could have never got a profit from it. Anyway, they went bankrupt. So that $535 million was ill spent. See?
Yeah. Plus, I just want to add, if the green movement, if the green technology was meant to work with good intentions, then why did the town of Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, threaten to raise my good friend Iron Man Vinnie Blake's property taxes when he told them he wanted to put solar panels on his roof? There you go. I mean, government is supposed to embrace and encourage the green movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why raise his property taxes? So he said, screw this, I'm not getting solar panels. I don't blame him.
You know, it's when you look back at this whole thing, way back when, with the financial meltdown, the cost of all the states to make them whole was $125 billion. Could have given it to all the states, they would have had no money problems. All of their budgets would have been balanced. No, you had to give it all to Wall Street. And 21,000 businesses around the world. Okay? So, just figure that out, $125 billion. Would have had, straightened every state out.
Yeah.
And look now.
And trim the waste out of the military budget.
Yeah, but that's something else again. I'm just saying, just to make the states whole, so you wouldn't have your Christies and your Kasages and your Walkers and etc. trying to cut budgets. It wouldn't have happened because they would have all been made whole for $125 billion.
Right.
Instead of spending trillions and trillions, which we ended up spending throughout the world and the United States. And yet what? The states are all having problems. Could have been solved for $125 billion.
And America's major cities too are having severe. They're in the red.
But if the states could have been made whole, so could have the cities. See, the trick now is that the Republicans have the trick where when the states, when the cities have problems, they're now sending in the committee of emergency managers to take over all the cities, and the mayors get shifted aside, and they do what they want to do with the city, and they sell off all the city's crap, basic commodities and the commons, whatever. That's what it's all about now. They want everything. They want you not to have anything. Period. And if you have anything, like, let's say, park, they want you to pay to get into park. No more free parks and camping and whatever else you want to do.
You mean what you're talking about is national and state parks?
Yes.
They want to make you pay.
Parks.
Well, I think a system, a form of government, a form of society that makes everyone pay out of pocket for everything, I think it sucks.
Well, it doesn't
you hear that, conservatives? You hear that Tea Party conservatives? You hear that Republican Party? It sucks to have to pay out of pocket for everything. Screw you.
Especially when you own it.
Oh, they want to privatize everything, so you have to pay for everything. Yeah. Excuse me.
He said House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi of California said Democrats would oppose all efforts to offset disaster aid with other cuts. She also suggested a compromise could split the difference between the $3.65 billion House and the $6.9 billion Senate disaster aid levels.
Right.
The dispute carries political risk for Republicans because disapproval ratings for Congress are at historic highs, and Republicans are faring worse than Democrats in the polls.
Oh boy.
Now this is an interesting article, picked at random.
What?
This is an interesting article.
I heard that part.
Picked at random.
Picked at random.
Yeah.
Random access memory. ROM. We have a ROM show from now on. The ROM format to progressive discussions. Totally. Geneva, Switzerland?
A pillar of physics that nothing can go faster than the speed of light.
Is this the Hadron Collider?
Appears to be smashed by an oddball subatomic particle.
Neutron?
That has apparently made a giant end run around Albert Einstein's theories.
Esmeralda was talking about this. She was reading something to me from the Colombian news media website on the internet about this, and she's going to hear it from Dr. Bill.
Scientists at the world's largest physics lab said on Thursday they have clocked neutrinos traveling faster than light.
Neutrinos.
That's something that, according to Einstein's 1905 special theory of relativity, the famous E equals mc squared equation, just doesn't happen. The feeling that most people have is, this can't be right. This can't be real.
Well, it is,
said James Gillies, a spokesman for the European Organization for Nuclear Research. The organization, known as CERN, hosted part of the experiment, which is unrelated to the massive $10 billion Large Hadron Collider, also located at the site.
I think all New Year's Eve babies, because of this article, this news, I think all New Year's Eve babies should be named Neutrino for boys and Neutrina for girls. How do you like them apples? You like apples?
Not with arsenic.
Apple juice with arsenic? Oh, we were supposed to read that article last week. You still have it?
I have it, but I think I have to get rid of these first.
Okay. All right, continue. This is very important science article. Neutrinos, man. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Gillies said the readings have so astounded researchers that they are asking others to independently verify the measurements before claiming an actual discovery. Scientists at the competing Fermi Lab in Chicago have promised to start such work immediately. It's a shock, said Fermi Lab head theoretician Stephen Park, who was not part of the research in Geneva. It's going to cause us problems.
Theoretician. So if you come up with theories, now you are called a theoretician. A new career in... Wow, how about that?
It's going to cause us problems. No doubt about that. If it's true.
Wow. It is?
The Chicago team had similar faster-than-light results in 2007. But those came with a giant margin of error that undercut its scientific significance. Other outside scientists expressed skepticism at CERN's claim that the neutrinos, one of the strangest well-known particles in physics, were observed smashing past the cosmic speed barrier of 282,000 miles per second. CERN says a neutrino beam fired from a particle accelerator near Geneva to a lab 454 miles away in Italy traveled 60 nanoseconds faster than the speed of light.
Wow. This really is huge news.
Scientists calculated the margin of error at just 10 nanoseconds, making the difference statistically significant. Scientists agree, if the results are confirmed, that it would force a fundamental rethink of the laws of nature. Einstein's special relativity theory that says energy equals mass times the speed of light squared underlies pretty much everything in modern physics. It has worked perfectly up until now.
Wow. As soon as we think we know it all,
we don't know it all.
We don't know it all. We're proven wrong. Incredible. All right. What do we got?
Pat Robertson.
Wait a minute. Before you want to read this before your lunch break?
Okay.
Knock it off. Oh, Pat Robertson.
However, there might be a lot of discussion on this.
Do you have another baby article like underneath it? Or,
No.
Like the arsenic apple thingy?
No, that'll be in here.
Yeah.
So I got like three other articles before the arsenic.
All right. Do you have one that's not long that
No,
you can knock off?
They're all pretty long.
Oh, Christ. All right. You know what? Let's go to break. Let's go to lunch. His gastronomic delight, known as lunch, and then followed by, of course, high green tea. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisman. We're going to take a break. Okay. We are ready for promo. While my co-host and mentor is taking part in his gastronomic delight known as lunch, I'm going to do promo. Before I do promo, I was having a discussion just before with Dr. Bill about shrinks, psychologists, psychiatrists, you know. If they feel, Dr. Bill, if they feel they are worthy of $100 an hour, then why is so much information that they, you know, they enlighten us with based on theory and not proven fact? Isn't a lot of what they say theoretical?
From the days of Reich, psychiatry now is a fantasy.
Then
all made up.
Then why do they feel they deserve that much money?
They can get it.
Because they can get it. Oh, isn't that why corporate America does the things they do? Because they can?
Yes.
Because they can, simply. Why do they have offshore tax havens? Why do they outsource? How come the products are not tariffed when they come back in? How come they don't pay taxes? How come?
Because the little guy
they can.
has been sucked into the no regulation, the free market, globalization.
It is a form of exploitation and enslavement of the little guy by the elitist fat cats. It is an ancient, like when Satan was here. Was he here 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. When Satan dropped in 2 weeks ago. It is an ancient problem of human nature. Human nature is vile. It is evil. It is wicked. It always has been and always will be. The human race is scum. You know, I was watching this this program. Being that we're closing in on 2012, it was a program about what if the United States or maybe the world should be overcome by a pandemic.
Woo.
And there's martial law, and there's we lose our running water, our electricity, everything. And what would happen is that what the experts say is the most sophisticated, well-educated, so-called nice people that walk around today and profess to be really nice and Christian and civilized and all this shit, they will resort to
barbarians,
barbaric, very primitive behavior, barbarism, dog eat dog, marauding gangs, looting, killing. The best of humanity will regress and de-evolve, which is happening anyway. So, just how great do you think humans really are? Those of you that are going around kissing ass and you're on Facebook and you're saying, I love everybody, I think everybody's great, I love all my hundreds of friends. Oh, by the way, that's another joke. Facebook has been in the news. You know, the greedy little prick, what's his name? The eagle beak Zuckerberg changed the look of Facebook. Some rumors are going around that he wants to start charging people for these changes. I don't know if that's a rumor. It might be. But people are bragging, I got all these friends. They're not your friends, you jerk. They're not even acquaintances. If you don't know them, you can't know everybody if you have hundreds of so-called friends. So they're not friends, because if you're in trouble, how many of those Facebook friends are going to be there for you and come to your rescue when you're in hot water? Huh? I say the inside of a donut. So they're not friends. If you don't know them to any extent, then they're not really acquaintances. Now, you might have real friends and acquaintances, but how many will they be? They won't be hundreds. They might be a small handful. So don't call them all friends. Come on, give me a break. Trying to compete. These young people are trying to compete, especially the chickie poos, trying to compete to show how many friends do I have on my network in Facebook. Yeah, get in trouble. End up on the street. Okay, let's see how many of your Facebook friends will come to your rescue. Give me a break. It's a bunch of horse shit. Really, come on, give me a break. People really are ridiculous, you know?
There's a country song to that effect. Mm-hmm. Find out who your friends are. The guy's out on the road, a car breaks down,
yeah,
and he calls his friend, and the video shows that not only his friend comes to help him out, but a whole bunch of other friends, including George Jones and etc., come to help him out.
That's a cute video. Anyway, back to promo. You see this jabroni right next to me here? You see this guy? This is a self-portrait of my mentor and co-host and founder of Newsletter Censored in 1977, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. This is a watercolor portrait. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor artist. You can see his gallery, the William J. Eisenman collection, by going to his William J. Eisenman Facebook profile page, and hopefully his album is available for viewing by the public. I'm not sure, but I hope it is.
Hopefully.
Or you can go to newslettercensored.com and check it out. If you see a painting that you like, email him and ask him if it's still available. And if it is, you can purchase an original signed watercolor painting by William J. Eisenman. The bidding starts at $500, but you know, make him a good offer, and you can have an original watercolor painting. Now, the backbone of our organization, right here, Newsletter Censored, founded in 1977 by my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. Did I get it all? Politics.
You say health?
Yeah, politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. Okay. You are not going to find this information in the mainstream media or the mainstream press. This is the type of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? So go to newslettercensored.com and get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work. Okay, you'll go to newslettercensored.com, read the hard-hitting information contained there, and there's a printable order form, and get your subscription right now. This newsletter subscription is the very best way to join our organization. It is the very best way to be a part of our organization. Okay, it is the backbone of our organization. Newsletter Censored, okay, founded in 1977, fighting censorship and conservative propaganda. Okay, and there's nothing like it anywhere in the universe. It's just chock full of information like Censored, the political monologue, followed by sometimes tidbits if there's room, followed by The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity, where Dr. Bill teaches you and tells you what the Bible really has to say, not what zealot, right-wing fundamentalists, conservative, counterfeit Christians tell you what the Bible says, that are trying to rewrite the Bible. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman will tell you what the Bible really says. And by the way, you can listen to what the Bible really says, the God Project, from our Mega Life 21 hard-hitting internet talk radio station every Sunday starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just simply go to newslettercensored.com, and the link to our internet talk radio station, corporate and FCC free, can be found at the top of newslettercensored.com. It's as simple as that. All right. Okay, last but not least, You will have Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. Eisenman, PhD. Very deep and naturally controversial, but deals with a real subject. But it's very deep. This newsletter, just like our organization and our shows and our websites, are for progressive people, people with open minds, free-thinking people with open minds, okay, that are not afraid to challenge and question the authority that has screwed up our country and our planet. All right, I pretty much
of course, today
covered it all.
Today, your dopey psychiatrists and psychologists that you were talking about,
yes,
they have entered into the DSM-4, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual.
Oh, here we go. I know it's
a new disease.
Syndromes.
A new disease when you question authority.
When you question your college professor, when you question your congressman or senator, when you question your governor, when you question any jabroni out there that is talking out of their ass that is in some position of authority somehow, it is a syndrome, right? You remember what that was? But there is a syndrome now.
Oppositional.
Something of that nature.
Yeah, so oppositional.
Yeah.
Something.
Remember this idiot that on YouTube years ago? I think it wasn't really years ago. It was a long time ago. He said that he was in charge of the national young conservatives, younger generation conservatives of America, and he says he's been on Van Susteren, what is it? That's she's from the Fox News, the one with the crooked mouth, Van Susteren. Yeah, he bragged that he was on Fox News more than once, and he says he would never debate myself or Dr. Bill because we're not like in the limelight. We're not famous enough for him to debate. Meanwhile, he couldn't debate me off the record on YouTube. He had no concrete, cold, hard, proven scientific evidence to debate any of our progressive teachings, and he just had no proof, and he just says, "Oh, I will never debate you because you guys are beneath me because I'm famous. I'm famous amongst young conservatives." I told him, I says, "You wouldn't stand a chance debating people like myself, James P. Madonna, William J. Eisenman, PhD, Gary Null, or Alex Jones, or Jesse Ventura, or Michael Moore, or Ralph Nader." I said, "You wouldn't stand a chance. You're a punk."
However,
he never answered me.
Conservatives learn to debate issues from both sides and win.
And how do they?
Which means,
how do they really win?
Because
how does that happen?
The issue is not the issue. It is winning.
Oh, you sound like Charlie Sheen now.
Well, that's the thing.
I'm winning. Everything's winning.
If you can debate an
Meanwhile,
issue,
he's wasting away. Yeah.
If you can debate an issue from both sides and win, then that means you do not know the issue.
Well, let me guess.
You do know winning.
Let me guess. They control the media because they're in bed with corporations. Therefore, they arrange it so your views really don't appear like they're proving them wrong, or you don't really get heard like the conservatives get heard. Or how do they finagle their way into winning debates?
Well, in the debate itself, they'll use attacks, ad hominem attacks. They'll use all kinds of tactics.
You mean they'll repeat the same crap?
To not really get at the issue itself.
Right. You mean they'll keep on repeating the same bullshit?
They will do that too.
Like,
but most of their need is to actually defeat you. You see.
Well, they
not the issue.
Not the issue.
You.
They don't stick to the issue, so they make personal attacks. Now they call you. What do they call you? Unpatriotic, unchristian, or some crap.
Depends on the issue.
Now, what they keep on saying over and over, and people are stupid and fall for it, is the fact that cutting taxes on the rich creates jobs, and taxing the rich is a job killer. This is a big, flat-out lie. But people still believe it. People still believe it.
We have 10 years of the experiment, if you want. We have over 30, but just take the last 10 years. Where are the jobs?
Where are they?
They've had the tax cuts since 2001.
Right.
10 years of tax cuts for the rich.
Right.
Where's the jobs?
Show me the beef.
At the most.
Where's the beef? Yeah.
At the most. And it's really not, that figure is wrong. George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Under George W. Bush, the jobs that were created were 4.4 million. No net jobs. That means, for all you people that go to sleep in economics class, that means there is a number that you must reach during an 8-year period, which includes those people who are born, those people who are, the population increases, etc.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of jobs that must be created every year and every month to keep up with all of that.
Right.
George W. Bush administration never kept up. There is no net jobs created during that 8-year period, and in the 2-year period that Barack Obama gave them also. No net jobs in 10 years. Yet we had 10 years of tax cuts for the rich.
Now, Bill Clinton.
What better experiment?
Now, Bill Clinton's surplus, were those like jobs of all kinds during Bill Clinton, or was that just hamburger flipping bullshit?
No, they were jobs of all kinds.
Minimum wage jobs.
Jobs in the .com, in websites, all that kind of stuff.
But we didn't have a deficit, or we still had a deficit?
The last 3 years of Clinton's administration, actually 4, but the only big one was the last year, which was like $125 billion surplus. The rest were smaller surpluses. But yes, we had a surplus in like his last 4 years. He raised the taxes up to 39%.
And he was a businessman. He was
From
still
35.
he is still a corporatist, but he was the lesser of the two evils. And see,
Well,
there you
there
go.
was some understanding in the administration that understood that when you raise taxes on the rich, you raise revenue.
Simple
We don't
math.
have that today.
It's simple math.
That's what Barack Obama said the other day. It's not class warfare. It's math.
It's math. Any experienced bookkeeper or an accountant can see it. It's simple math.
But not an ideologist.
The simple math is that the more, since the little guy, the middle class and the poor, are the true consumers of America, and they are the backbone of this country, and they do make up small businesses, entrepreneurs, mom and pop stores. If the little guy goes broke, and they do not have the surplus cash to put back in the economy, then therefore there's nobody to buy the products of the fat cat elitists. Simple math. What do you say? Ipso
facto ergo.
Ergo. Ipso facto ergo. The little guy doesn't have the money. He doesn't spend. The fat cats don't make money because people don't buy their product. I don't know how else to put it. It's really that simple. And
it's a strange thing to me in this economy now. You'll see it on television,
right,
and radio, a bunch of places selling gold.
Yeah.
Everybody's selling gold. Now, if things are that bad, and you need gold to survive. Why would someone be selling you gold? Why wouldn't they keep it for themselves?
Yeah, well, gold, historically, gold was always a hedge against catastrophe,
Yeah,
like disaster.
it's worth over $1,800 an ounce.
Every
right
time
now.
something bad happens in the country or the world, the price of gold and, I assume, silver and platinum
Silver, yes,
go up.
go up. But I'm saying, these places that are on TV and everything that are selling you the gold, if things were really bad, why would they be selling gold to you? They would keep it for themselves
Exactly.
to be able to survive.
Right. And there's no friggin' way I'm going to sell my gold through the mail like that infomercial tells you.
Yeah.
It's insane. What's it called? Cashforgold.com? Something like, or Cash for
Something
Gold.
like that.
Yeah, you put your. Anyway, aside from that, this is where we're at. You know, I mean, gold. You know, just like when I used to play with no-load mutual funds, they always used to say the very wise way to invest in mutual funds is what they call dollar cost averaging. You purchase shares when the price. You purchase more shares when the price is low, and then you purchase less shares when the price is high, and you invest the same amount of money every month at the same time every month, and it's called dollar cost averaging, which works, but it also works with the gold because of the volatile fluctuation of the price of gold. You buy
Now,
more troy ounces, I guess you would call it, right? When the price is down and fluctuates.
now, getting back to that, in God's economics, standards do not change. So that sort of does away with that greed thingy that
Yeah.
I want more.
Well-
I want more.
Well-
Buy low, sell high.
Sell high. The whole thing with competition and profit, the whole capitalist system does not apply in God's economics. For those of you that believe that Jesus Christ will come back a second time and everything will be hunky-dory for 1,000 years, 1,000-year rule, yeah, all that does not apply. Now, if you want to see the worst of capitalism, I guess you can watch that show, Hardcore Porn. There's a show on True TV called Hardcore Porn where people are bringing their antiques and valuables to a pawn shop. I don't know why you would want to sell your antique at a pawn shop and not sell it privately or on eBay.
Through an auction.
Through an auction. But of course, the owner of the establishment, Les, I guess, which is short for Lester,
And his
and
partner Moore.
his son is Seth, Les or Moore. He undercuts. In other words, he offers him hundreds of dollars, like less than the book value.
Yeah.
He tries to. Oh, he says, "How much do you want for this item?" That's the first question out of his mouth. Now it's sneaky, man, because if the item's worth $800, and the man is or the woman is uninformed, and they say, yeah, you know, I like to take, I'll take $100 for it. Of course, Lester or Les, whatever. Of course, he's going to say, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll buy it. I'll give you $100." Listen. It's like taking an old flea market business person that you like haggle with and barter, and making him a snake oil salesman, so he uses tricks to try to get more for less. More for less, buy low, sell high, stiff you, and trick you into giving you a lot less money than what the product is worth, which is not very nice. And his daughter and son are that way too. You know. But anyway, back to the
He also
articles.
graduated from Harvard.
Oh, is that what Harvard Business School teaches people?
Oh, yeah. That's Harvard Business School teaches
Buy low, sell high.
you to sell your mother for $1.
Sell your mother for $1.
Yeah, yeah.
Buy low, sell high. otherwise known as the devil's economics. Okay. Oh, by the way, Harold Camping's new rapture is supposed to be what exactly? You remember what that October, the end of
October 21.
October 21? Huh?
2012.
No.
Or is it this October?
No, it's this October.
Oh my God!
Remember his
2011.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. I gotta.
Oh my God.
Are my ears sticking out sufficiently? As far as without stretching the hell out of them?
Not as sufficiently as his.
I miscalculated last time. I was wrong. Even though people send me thousands of dollars in donations, I am always wrong. I'm always miscalculating. My name is Harold Camping, a very famous and very wealthy TV and radio evangelist. I'm a very old man, so please don't yell at me and criticize me because I always miscalculate everything. I'm going to probably miscalculate again, so please send me more money. Hold on. Let me put my ears back.
He must have like a cat has 9 lives, 9 mistakes he can make.
Yeah, but
Without the people throwing them out.
Aren't right-wing fundamentalist zealots from the Bible Belt area, aren't all these people, don't they, they're like robots, like androids, don't they, ignore the facts, and if you screw up all the time, they just keep on sending you money and keep on following you?
They don't do homework. They don't check things. They don't read.
They don't know their...
People on chat
Yeah.
all the time. I hate books. I don't like to read.
Oh, really?
This is what we're bringing up here.
So they can't...
these days.
They should not profess to be Christians, to be real Christians and know the Bible if they do not read the Bible.
They say they read it.
But they don't.
They certainly don't know the passages that I know.
Well, the passages that are loaded in the Bible tells the rich to constantly give to and help the poor. And if you give to the rich, and if you exploit and oppress the poor to increase your riches, then you're going to piss God off.
You'll pay.
Yeah, you'll pay for it. And it's like...
Karma.
That's it.
Karma.
Plain and simple. So how can Republicans be closer to God than us progressive liberals? Or now we like to be called just progressives. Oh, that's like that jerk that said Gary knows too leftist for him over on YouTube. I'm promoting the video of when Jesse Ventura was on the Gary Knowles show, and this idiot says, "Oh, I love Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura, but I think Gary Knowles is too leftist." So I pretty much told him, well, what's bad about Gary Knowles? That he expects a country to be compassionate towards its poor and for the rich to pay the taxes and not the middle class and the poor, and for the rich to help the poor with their tax dollars. Oh, that's bad? That's considered bad? Well, if you're a greedy prick, if you're a greedy son of a bitch, I guess it is bad.
He should specify what he means by leftist, because these people just use the word because it's part of the Republican talking points.
Well,
they know not what it means.
I told his ass off, so let's see what he replies to me. By the way, Karl Marx did not write the book of socialism and communism. He simply criticized and exposed all of the negativities and shortcomings of capitalism, all of capitalism's downfalls. That's all he did. Right. Like anybody in a free society with a constitutional, with a First Amendment right would do, like we do. That's all Marx did. So now greedy conservatives like to use the word Marxism. Yeah.
Yeah, like he created some social system.
Yeah, and the truth is,
communism.
It was Ronald Reagan who shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor. That is the plain, hard-hitting truth. Continue.
Pat Robertson has made many controversial statements over the years,
Say that again.
such as suggesting that the 9/11 terrorist attacks were God's punishment for the United States tolerating abortion and homosexuality.
Like he speaks for God. He has a bat phone to God, you know.
His critics are usually those on the politically opposite spectrum of the conservative Christian leader or outside the Christian faith. But the television evangelist's most recent statements, condoning divorce when his spouse has Alzheimer's, appears to have offended many Christians who feel it violates the sanctity of marriage and that most cherished of marriage vows, till death do us part. The controversy stems from comments Robertson made recently on the 700 Club on his Christian broadcast network. His comments came in response to a caller who said that a friend had begun dating other women while his wife lies seriously ill with Alzheimer's, and justifies it by saying that his wife, as he knows her, is gone. Robertson said he agrees with the man. What he says basically is correct. I know it sounds cruel, but if he's going to do something, he should divorce her and start all over again. But make sure she has custodial care and somebody looking after her. His co-host pressed Robertson about whether that violates the marriage vows. Robertson responded that Alzheimer's is a kind of death, and added, "I certainly wouldn't put a guilt trip on you for choosing divorce in such a scenario." The comments on Christianity Today's news blog were nearly universal in their criticism and disappointment. By Robertson's response, said one. Many of the commentators said they were outraged and described how they or their mother or father lovingly cared for a spouse with Alzheimer's. Such irresponsible, callous comments made by Robertson. My father cared for my mother, who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at age 55, until the day he placed her ravaged body in the grave.
Oh, gee.
He kept his vows. Be ashamed of yourself, Pat Robertson! On Twitter, Walter Price, who identifies himself as a pastor, said, Pat Robertson is wrong on his Alzheimer's statement. Unchristian-like, unbiblical, dead wrong! So sad.
Yeah.
And Russell D. Moore, dean of the School of Theology at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky, wrote in an article for the Baptist Press News, "This is more than an embarrassment. This is more than cruelty. This is a repudiation of the gospel of Jesus Christ." Robertson did not respond to an interview request.
Yeah, because he had no comeback, right? He had no, probably knew he had no rebuttal. He like they just shoot their mouth off, they talk out of their ass, these right wingers, these conservatives, and they just have no valid rebuttal, no valid information to defend their agenda.
Yep.
No proof, no evidence. All right, what do we got?
All right. This may be, no, I guess it ain't a little late because I guess it's still going on. The sky is not falling. A 12,500-pound NASA satellite the size of a school bus is.
It's supposed to hit this afternoon, right? Or tomorrow.
It's the Upper Atmosphere Research Satellite, UARS, and it's currently tumbling in orbit and succumbing to Earth's gravity. It will crash to the surface.
Yeah.
It says on Friday, but they extended it to Saturday. out-of-control crashing satellites don't lend themselves to exact estimates, even for the precision-minded folks at NASA. The uncertainty about the when makes the where all the trickier, because a small change in the timing of the re-entry translates into thousands of miles of difference in the crash site. As of the moment, NASA says the 35-foot long satellite will crash somewhere between 57 degrees north latitude and 57 degrees of south latitude. A projected crash zone that covers most of the planet, and particularly the inhabited parts. In this hemisphere, that includes everyone living between northern Newfoundland and the frigid ocean beyond the last point of land in South America. Polar bears and Antarctic scientists are safe. It's the biggest piece of NASA space junk to fall to Earth in more than 30 years.
Wow.
It should create a light show. The satellite will partially burn up during re-entry and, by NASA's calculation, break into about 100 pieces, creating fireballs that should be visible even in the daytime. An estimated 26 of those pieces will survive the re-entry burn and will spray themselves in a linear debris field 500 miles long. The largest chunk could weigh 300 pounds.
And that's 300 pounds if you weigh it statically, right? That's not with the acceleration and the speed of re-entry when it hits on impact. It's many times over 300 pounds.
Some of it is made of titanium, which will survive.
Titanium, the strongest metal alloy known, as far as I know. Maybe with any luck, one of those pieces will fall on Bill Gates' mansion. You know, or some of your greediest CEOs on the planet.
As the crash is going on, NASA will refine its estimate of timing and location, but the fudge factor will remain high. There are too many variations on solar activity which affect the atmosphere, the drag on the vehicle. He said, this gentleman had said at NASA, that with an official estimate of 2 hours to go before the satellite hits the Earth, there will still be a margin of error of 25 minutes. The good news is that the satellite will probably splatter into the ocean, because Earth is a water planet.
Predominantly. Well, we hope.
And humans, for all their sprawl, occupy a very limited portion of the surface.
Well, we hope that it falls into the ocean. We hope. So, that arsenic apple juice...
It'll be coming up, but I want to get this in because this is not on the mainstream media.
Oh, really? So you didn't hear it on any of the major networks on television? Really?
If 3 Tea Partiers got together,
okay,
you'd see all the television stations there filming it, etc. But this thing has got thousands of people involved. Down on Wall Street, in New York City.
And why isn't this being covered?
That's correct. We don't know, do we? Maybe it has something to do with protecting the corporations involved.
Well, let me tell
Since
you...
the vapors are all corporate entities.
Let me tell you something. What is the name... Is there a particular title or name for this protest at Wall Street? So I can look it up and see if Gary Null has it on...
Well, we'll see here, but I do not think so.
And then I could promote it.
It might be called Occupy Wall Street.
Oh, okay.
Wall Street firms are the target of a non-violent demonstration in which organizers say they want 20,000 people to participate with tents, kitchens, and peaceful barricades in lower Manhattan. Dubbed Occupy Wall Street. The goal of the protest is to get President Obama to establish a commission to end the influence money has over our representatives in Washington.
Hey, this is heavy duty.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. Raw nerve we're talking about here. Isn't this isn't this the foundation of all political corruption in this type of society?
Absolutely. Huh. Money is the root of all evils.
Money talks, bullshit walks, or whatever. He who has the most gold rules. The golden rule.
Organizers want participants to occupy the area for a few months. According to the website Adbusters. A-D, Busters.
Is this their website?
Well, they got information on it about them, so I
Okay.
would assume they have some connection.
All right.
People have a right to protest, and if they want to protest, we'll be happy to make sure they have locations to do it, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg said. As long as they do it where other people's rights are respected, this is the place where people can speak their minds. And that's what makes New York, New York.
Well, at least he has an open mind about it.
For now.
Republican Mayor Bloomberg.
For now.
Billionaire Mayor Bloomberg. For now. So far.
As the demonstration began on Saturday, and what's the date today?
Saturday.
Saturday, that's at least a week ago.
The 24th.
At least a week ago.
2011, yeah.
Okay. And it hasn't been on the mainstream media.
You know, mainstream media, very interesting. Mainstream media. Could it be perhaps that the sponsors that pay their salaries don't want something like this to be televised?
Well, absolutely. The corporations don't want to see people protesting against them.
Corporate CEOs, fat cats. Interesting.
Corporate jet owners.
Yeah, with their golden parachutes. In reality, they should get golden showers, not golden parachutes.
As the demonstration began on Saturday afternoon, as many as 1,000 people congregated in the Chase Manhattan Plaza area, and after speakers with a bullhorn rallied the crowd, broke into groups to discuss the event's goals. Some participants circulated trays of sliced white and wheat bread, while others passed out jars of creamy Skippy peanut butter and distributed apples, bananas, and oranges from shopping carts. Protesters waved red flags and toted cardboard signs with statements such as, "Represent the 99%. Others donned white, mustachioed masks of the anti-authoritarian protagonists from the graphic novel and film V for Vendetta.
Oh, really? I like that mask.
Hey, should have been down there. See that?
I can get one of those masks, you know, from especially now Halloween season. If you go to all these costume and party stores, you can find it.
A few people played instruments, including guitars, ukuleles, and maracas. Chants and applause periodically erupted. Police encircled the plaza and partitioned Wall Street's pedestrian walkway. NYSE, Euronext, Deutsche Bank AG, and Bank of New York Mellon Corporation are among the firms with operations in the area. Bank of America Corp., J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, Morgan Stanley, and Citigroup are among financial firms whose main offices aren't on Wall Street. Rich Adamamas, a spokesman for the NYSE, Duncan King of Deutsche Bank, and Bank of New York's Ron Gruendel declined to comment on the demonstration. Protests also are planned for financial districts in Madrid, Milan, London, and Paris.
This is an international movement.
According to a bulletin from the National Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Center obtained by the Bloomberg News.
Wow.
The NCCIC is part of the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay.
So we see that Homeland Security is on the ball. Something they weren't in 2001.
Oh, okay. Okay. What's
Last
cooking?
but not least,
Yeah, but where's the Apple article?
it's here.
Because I don't want like this Apple article to be
go into the
read
dusty
after the season, after autumn, you know.
Television's Mehmet Oz of Cliffside Park is under fire from the FDA and others for sounding what they say is a false alarm about the dangers of apple juice.
Mehmet, what a name he has, Dr. Oz. Mehmet?
Dr. Oz, one of TV's most popular medical experts, said on his Fox show Wednesday that testing by a New Jersey lab had found what he suggested were troubling levels of arsenic in many brands of juice. The FDA said its own tests show no such thing.
The FDA's in bed with drug companies, food companies.
Why anybody would believe anything the FDA says
They're whores.
is beyond me.
Corporate whores.
Even on one of the same juice batches that Oz cited. There's no evidence of any public health risk from drinking these juices. And FDA has been testing them for years, the agency said. The flap escalated on Thursday when Oz's former medical school classmate, Dr. Richard Besser, lambasted him on ABC's Good Morning America show for what Besser called an extremely irresponsible report that was akin to yelling fire in a movie theater.
Okay.
Besser was acting head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention before joining ABC News as health and medical editor several years ago. Arsenic is naturally present in water, air, food, and soil in two forms, organic and inorganic. According to the FDA, organic arsenic passes through the body quickly and is essentially harmless. I wonder if anybody asked the question, why is arsenic in our water, air, food, and soil?
Good question.
Thank you. And remember that the Bush administration allowed the levels of safety to go up. Pass that back. Inorganic arsenic, the type found in pesticides, can be toxic, and they may pose a cancer risk if consumed at high levels or over a long period. The Dr. Oz show did not break down the type when it tested several dozen juice samples for total arsenic. As a result, the FDA said the results are misleading. Furthermore, the agency's own tests found far lower total arsenic levels from one of the same juice batches the Oz show tested. 2 to 6 parts per billion of arsenic versus the 36 parts per billion that Oz's show had claimed. Tests of the same batch, conducted by 2 food testing labs for the juice maker, Nestle, United States, which sells Juicy Juice under the Gerber brand, also found levels consistent with the FDA results. In a letter published on the Oz Show's website, Nestle said it told the program's producer in advance that the method the show's lab used was intended for testing wastewater, not fruit juice, and therefore their results would be unreliable at best. The FDA also sent a letter in advance to the show and threatened to post its findings and the letters online if the program proceeded. Oz went ahead.
Yeah, because the food companies that are selling this arsenic-laced apple juice are probably greasing the palms of these FDA officials, perhaps,
Not perhaps.
along with specific congressmen, senators, or what they have to do. Deregulation of corporations, polluting the environment just to increase profit.
Getting rid of the organic farmer, getting rid of vitamins, supplements, herbs, etc.
It's one big giant conspiracy of greed. That's it. Plain and simple. The objective of corporate America, the motive behind it all, is simply greed. It's greed. Everything you hear from the Tea Party Republicans about, cutting taxes from the rich and deregulation and all this bullshit about creating jobs, the reality is it's all done in the name of greed. Greed, greed, greed.
It's all done to avoid any competition from down below to the big boys.
Yeah, and also even down to the old simple old news minimum wage law that Republicans are always against, the minimum wage. It's all about greed. It's about greed, not paying an employee a decent, fair living wage with benefits that they deserve. It's about greed. It's all about greed. Free market capitalism. Capitalism is about greed. The devil's economics. Everything that progressive liberals are against is all about greed. So when you hear Rick Perry or Chris Christie, or what's the guy, Governor Walker in Wisconsin, or the Weeper of the House, John Boehner, Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin, who's getting boned on the side and on the verge of divorce, breaking up with her husband, because Sarah Palin is, looking to get shtuked. Who the fuck is that? Sarah Palin, what a fucking asshole. What are these people around here doing that? Anyway, Sarah Palin, nailing Palin, the right-wing fundamentalist, prim and proper, puritanical Republican who, is, because of her daughter got knocked up, just say no to sex and yes to celibacy. Give me a break. Oh, by the way, Sarah Palin's daughter's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, the father of the baby, is coming clean with an expose of what it's like.
Got a book out.
What it's like to be involved with the Palin family.
Levi.
Yeah, Levi. So Sarah Palin, the beloved conservative,
Paragon of virtue.
Paragon of virtue, is looking for a little action on the side. Extramarital encounter, getting porked, getting banged, getting the stiff shillelagh. Another hypocritical right-wing fundamentalist conservative exposed. The people that shoot their mouth off the most, beware. They have the most skeletons in their closet. Quick imitation of Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin, two political... Do I have to go out there and bash this guy's head in with my shillelagh or what? I'm ready to go out there.
Sounds like two different people.
Sounds like a fucking asshole. right at the end of our show, this shit has to happen.
Maybe that's
You see the de-evolution that's taken place in America? That's it, right there. All this glorification of the ghetto, ways. It's not a culture. It's just de-evolution of humanity. Anyway, quick imitation: Michelle Bubblehead Bachmann and Sarah Palin. When they talk, all I hear is this, because they're idiots. They don't even know American history. That's what I hear when they open their mouths. Human slide whistle. Idiots.
I heard the other day that there's a new program the conservatives have gotten to teach their people the Constitution.
Oh, they know the Constitution now.
Well,
wow,
no,
they know
don't know it. That's why they wanted to teach it.
They know the Bible and the Constitution.
They're a little embarrassed when the Bachmans and the other idiots that are in high positions don't understand the Constitution.
Well, they should be. They should be embarrassed.
Some of them believe that. Some of them, when they make their statements and quotes, they're actually quoting the Articles of Confederation. See, they have a misgiving wherein they believe the states are supreme to the federal government. But that's what it was under the Articles of Confederation. And of course, the national military, the army, could not get any money from the states and all sorts of other problems. That's why they got a constitution, to do away with the Articles of Confederation. And under the Constitution, the U.S. government is supreme. And Abe Lincoln showed that you do not secede from the supreme government.
That's true. I just want to say about the apple juice and the arsenic, I have a feeling that these American food companies that produce apple juice are getting their apples overseas, where the growers use DDT and pesticides and that are banned in the United States. So instead of buying good old-fashioned American apple orchard apples, which there are plenty, I assume, apple orchards in America, they get it overseas because they're too friggin' greedy and cheap. They're greedy, and they can't buy an American apple, so they got to get their apples overseas, thus
creating jobs over there instead of here.
Creating jobs overseas, getting a cheaper apple, increasing their profit margin, and getting DDT and arsenic and whatever. But you're right, what you were saying before. Well, the Article of Confederation, maybe it's just an excuse to shrink government down to nothing so the rich don't pay their taxes. When you say, when you don't get revenue for the government.
Well, that's their object. It's been their object for years. Grover Norquist.
Now, a middle class.
I don't know why people don't just stop and say, what are they trying to do? These people are traitors, unpatriotic. They're trying to destroy the United States government. They say it out loud, and yet people do not respond to it.
Outsourcing of all your jobs is unpatriotic. Oh, a middle-class man told me yesterday, and listen to this. He mentioned something about our friends from south of the border. What do you think of the issue of our friends south of the border? So I automatically said, I think racial profiling is horrible. I think Latin Americans, like people from Mexico, work very hard and work very long hours for very little money, and I'm 100% against racial profiling. And he says, "Oh, you didn't really listen to what I have to say." He started bitching and moaning about his taxes. He don't want to pay taxes to support any of these illegal immigrants from south of the border. So in other words, he votes Republican. He's not rich. He's middle class. So he's blaming everything on illegal immigration from south of the border on, and I'm sure he's throwing in America's poor also. It's all about the so-called, and this is an old complaint from Republicans, the so-called welfare cheats. Doesn't that remind you of the old, the brood sows? Yeah, he used to talk about the welfare cheats back in the 70s.
Reagan's welfare queen.
Ronald Reagan's welfare queen. Yeah. Now, don't blame immigrants. They work very hard. Don't blame Mexican immigrants that, try to get a better life for themselves, and work for crap, and because their country is in shambles, So he's blaming the poor on the fact that he has to pay more taxes. Meanwhile, he's not wealthy, and he says he wants to boycott Obama and the new tax law. He wants to, I guess, I don't know, make money off the books or go in hiding or something.
Well, if he's middle class, the new tax cuts do not affect him one iota.
No, they don't affect him. So I don't know what he's bitching and moaning about. But it's like right away they blame the poor. Right away they blame immigrants, especially of color. Right away they blame Mexicans that illegally are working in the United States and so on and so. Meanwhile, the big shots, the conservative fat cats that own the companies, love to employ illegal immigrants so they can pay them crap, so they can pay them shit. So they're like hypocrites.
That's right.
But he doesn't look at the racial profiling. Oh, no, that's not bad. The fact that he has to pay more taxes. You know what? If the rich pay more taxes, guess what? They're still rich. Big deal. My heart really bleeds for them. They really, it really does.
Yeah, but he has not paid. He has not paid more taxes under Obama.
It doesn't apply to him. Who does it apply to?
Those over $250,000.
There you go. Does it apply?
And
it doesn't apply to this guy.
And it may not even be them. It might be the millionaires.
There you go.
It depends on which program they.
Oh, you mean like Chris Christie's buddies that don't pay taxes?
Yeah, but under Obama's program, I believe there's going to be like a provision for those over $250,000 that they make, or over $1 million. It depends on which one they vote on.
And it doesn't apply to these middle class Tea Party fools, these lemmings that vote Republican. And meanwhile, it's against their own best interests to vote Republican, but they continue to vote Republican because they march in lockstep to an ideology. I am pro-life. I believe the rich provide jobs for me in America. Two lies, right there. Right, ideology.
Democrats are baby killers.
Huh?
Democrats are baby killers.
Oh yeah, a fertilized egg and a fetus that breathes like a fish is technically a baby to these people. They're zealots, and I buck
More
heads.
of a baby than a born child with problems.
Oh, if you're born, you're a burden on society. But if you're a fetus, you're very important. What kills me? I buck heads with Ken Create all the time. These people that act like they have a bat phone to God and that they're speaking for God. You told me that's nothing but pride and vanity, right? But they continue to say, no, it's not pride and vanity. It's in the Bible. Everything they say it's in the Bible. You say it's not, they say it's in it. You say it's not, they say it's in it.
Prove it.
Well,
it's very simple.
The thing with Bible interpretation is
not interpretation.
It can be very complex.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Yeah. Not interpretation. Prove it.
Well,
show all the scriptures that that concern that particular thing that they're talking about, and then we'll see what they say, and then we'll examine them in Greek or in Hebrew, whatever they are, and we'll see.
Like, remember what you told me Wednesday about in Genesis, God spoke in plural terms as us. He used the word us a lot.
Right.
And I told Ken Create, and he says, he says they're one. There's a Trinity, but they're also one. Can they be both? There's a Trinity. Yes, there is
there is no Trinity.
The Spirit that became Jesus. You called it Melchizedek, right? Yes, they're separate, but they're one of the same. But interpretation, he says that Dr. Bill is
There is no
misinterpreting.
The thing in the Bible that is
Yeah.
there, which says that they are one, is a forgery, and was put there by a monk. There is no Trinity. The Holy Spirit is not a person. It is a force
Right.
that God uses to get things done. It's an energy.
Right. And as far as the Spirit,
There's no Trinity.
as far as the God that became Jesus, what you're saying is no matter what the right-wing fundamentalists say, they are two separate entities. It's not that they're two entities, but then again they are one entity
They are one in mind only.
in mind, but not in as far as
They are two different alien entities.
two entities. You know, talk about spin doctors. The fundamentalists love to twist and twist and twist and twist.
As I told you, even the Quran speaks in duality.
And you know they get upset if they cannot go out and quote unquote witness, in other words known as bug people. They get upset if they can't do it. Oh, I'm not going to get my rewards in heaven if I don't go around bothering people. I says, you know what I told them? Worry about your own salvation. Don't worry about other people. You have enough to worry about yourself. So it's like vanity, you know, it's like unbelievable.
Not only that, but nobody's going to heaven.
No, they're not worthy of it.
No, there is no heaven in that sense.
It's here. In other words, they still believe they're going to
Revelation 22, what occurs? Eventually, what occurs?
a resurrection and then judgment.
After all of that.
About
And the new city of Jerusalem is built, and
right,
etc.
the new city.
What happens?
Well, are we talking about before the 1,000-year rule or after?
After!
Well, the new city of Jerusalem will become the center, the capital of the universe.
What happens after all of that?
And aside from
God
the lake
the
of fire,
Father brings his throne to the earth.
it's no
longer
Right.
in heaven.
It's not in
where all these people supposedly playing harps are with their reward. I'm sorry, no one ever went to heaven except he who came down from heaven.
There's no immortal soul that's going to fly up in the air and go into another dimension. There is no.
It's all very simple and in plain English.
Right, and if
Old
there
English.
and if there wasn't Dr. Bill says if there was an immortal soul, why would we need a resurrection? Which makes sense.
Correct.
Why would we need a resurrection?
Why would the gift of God be eternal life?
But you know
If
what?
we already got it.
Just like Republicans, these right-wing fundamentalist, evangelical, holy rollers, born-againers, they march in lockstep. They won't shake their beliefs. They still insist on the rapture, and they're going to get sucked up in the air. Like Ken says, oh, I'm not going to be here during the tribulation. I said, where are you going?
That's right, he's going to be dead.
I said, where are you going? Oh, no, I'm going to be raptured up. I says, but isn't that vanity to expect that that you know what God's going to do? And he says, oh, we're saved. Again, with the dispensation of grace and Paul's writings and the blood of Christ, he says, oh, even a person who's a drug addict and an alcoholic and is on the verge of self-destruction, they still can be saved and covered by the blood. I said,
Yeah, in the third resurrection.
in the third, right?
Yeah, not here. Not now. I keep saying it over and over again. The vast majority of humankind are not up for saving now.
It's not their time.
It's not their time.
God's only concerned about the elect that will rule in New Jerusalem. These people keep on fighting me and taunting me and taunting me. And it's like they don't stop.
The devil told Eve when she took the arsenic-laden apple off the tree,
The arsenic, say cute.
that thou shalt not surely die. He lied. This lie of the immortal soul has been going on ever since.
Isn't there a similarity to Satan?
The Egyptians put in food. They put in servants. They put in all kinds of things for their people in the afterlife.
Cats. Sometimes the spouse got killed and mummified. Isn't there a similarity between the lies told by Satan to Eve in the Garden of Eden and the Tea Party conservative Republicans telling the middle class the same lie that got them control of the Congress? Isn't there a similarity between those two lies?
A lie is a lie.
A lie is a lie.
A lie is a lie.
Father of lies.
The conservatives live by lies, so does the devil.
Father of lies. That's
Father
true.
of lies.
All right. Thank you for joining us for our brand new formatted show of Progressive Discussions. You have just viewed Progressive Discussions number
87.
87. Wow. And it will be Progressive Discussions and the number of the show, and it will be called The Real Hard-Hitting Truth. Stop shaking the fucking table, sir. Oh, man. Anything to fucking diminish the quality of this video. Thank you for joining us.
It could have been an earthquake.
Yeah, right. My ass.
Could have been the thing falling from space.
Please, man. I don't know how to get rid of that thing that you just caused, but anyway.